All right, let's go to our last segment, Thanksgiving.
All right, here we go. So let's start with this sentiment from Scott Besant, who has some holiday advice for everyone about how to deal with inflation. Let's take a listen to that.
Kristen, I can tell you that the Council on Economic Advisors has a study. You know the best way to bring your inflation rate down? Move from a blue state to a red state. Blue state inflation is 0.5% higher, and that is because they don't deregulate, they keep prices up, energy is higher.
So Saagar, if you're struggling with healthcare costs, if you're struggling with rent, if you're struggling with electric bills because of the data center build on, just move. Just move.
Yeah.
Now, if you are already living in one of those red states and are struggling and having your electric cut off, no advice or plans really coming from the administration on that. But I don't know. I'm getting some Ben Shapiro vibes off of
very
this clip.
Ben Shapiro vibe that we get there from this secretary. Not usually a winning message. Look, I'm all for people moving if they want to. But, one of the things that I hate most about those types of messages is, what if you don't want to? A lot of people don't want to move. And I like that. A lot of people want to stay exactly where they grew up or near their parents, and I think that's great. And I think they should have I think they have the right to do so. And more importantly, I think policy should be designed to help those types of people in particular. And so that's one of the things that really disgusts me about this type of ideology of who cares about where you live in your community and where your parents are? If you want to, if just move because you're a widget, and that's really what a place of living is. I think anybody who understands the concept of home, that's why they find it really offensive when Ben Shapiro or a Scott Besant says something like that. So that is the winning message ahead of Thanksgiving. I wonder, we talked about politics at the table. If you think about, everyone always talks about kitchen table issues, which is such a trite phrase, but there's obviously something to it. What are people going to be complaining about whenever it comes to Thanksgiving? I think they will be complaining about housing. I think they will be complaining about, like you talked about data centers, but cost of living, about inflation. In one of the pieces we're about to get, actually, let's just get to it now. F3, let's put the store prices in terms of what Thanksgiving dinner is actually going to cost. There has been some modest decrease in some elements of the Thanksgiving dinner. However, consumers are paying more for some. Now we have jellied cranberry sauce. We have homestyle gravy, stuffing mix, buttermilk biscuits, party pie shells, russet potatoes, sweet corn, green beans, and whipped toppings. Those have all increased in price by a couple percentage points. Or in the case of cranberry sauce, not sure what's going on with cranberry market, it's up by 40%. You will, however, be paying some 2.3% less whenever it comes to turkey and some 5% less for pumpkin pie mix. So if you put it all in the aggregate, it does look like it's going to cost a little bit more than it did last year, or at the basket of ingredients for Thanksgiving, some 4.1% more than last year, but not a horrible increase whenever it comes to the main staples. It did say, though, that you're pretty lucky that the mainstay meal of Thanksgiving is not beef, because that's up some 15% year over year, in particular if you go and you look at the steak section. So it's one of those where what gets me is, it's not just about because right now there's all this talk in the White House. It's about messaging. No, it's not messaging. I used to say this about Biden. It's a reality problem. You can't message or chart post your way out of increase in price and malaise and the feeling that not much is happening. That's it. That's politics. Period. You can never convince somebody that what they feel is not correct. You just can't. You really can't. Especially whenever it comes to cost of living, which is where the vast majority of people feel a lot of precarity, and they feel as if the basics are not attainable. Or if they are attainable, you have to work much harder and get by in a way that you did not necessarily have to when your parents were growing up. And that's the essence of the overall American dream. So, if anything, I feel like that might be a topic of conversation at Thanksgiving. And I think it should be. I think it should be, because that's really what, when I bond with a lot of people, that's usually what it comes down to. Like, man, can you believe the cost of this? Can you believe that? I don't think that's how most people should want to spend their leisure time, but that's what it ends up being, I think, for most people.
I want to be at the Thanksgiving dinner tables where they're talking about Epstein, personally.
Oh, well, you know what's funny? When this guy goes, because I don't generally try to talk about politics or anything, because I get it. It's like, this is my job and all of that, and so most people don't necessarily want to get into it. But Epstein, people are always asked, no matter where I go. In relatives, they love, that's the Epstein question is the one, and I'm always like, sit down. grab a drink or something. Let's talk. We're gonna go back. I'll be like, let me tell you about the Dalton School in 1978, and they're like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go. We're going together. Buckle up for the ride. So that's what Thanksgiving with me is like.
I saw someone on Twitter saying that Zoran with Trump pulled the classic leftist Thanksgiving move of talking about how much you hate liberals and then just leaving everything else vague.
That's true. Yeah, I like that.
I think there's a lot to that, especially I think he probably railed against the media. There were some allusions to that in the media in the meeting of like, oh, that one the media did actually get right about me saying that. So I think he had previously talked about how the media says these things about me. They're not really true. Just the way the media mischaracterizes you is the same way they've mischaracterized me. So, if you're on the left and you're looking to bond with the conservative, that's always a way to go.
True.
But I actually feel, Saagar, I understand the country is very divided, but I do actually feel like there are a lot of issues now that would be places where, whether you're left, liberal, right, MAGA, whatever, where you could find some common ground. I think you could talk about healthcare. I think you could talk about cost of living. I think you could talk about wars. I think you could talk about data centers. I think you could talk about Epstein. I think there are a lot of areas where you probably, unless you have someone who is just an absolute, psycho ideologue, which is never worth talking to those people anyway, where you could actually have a reasonable conversation and exchange of ideas. And I do support that. I think that's healthy for people to be able to do.
I totally agree. All right, last page. I had to get this in here. The Secretary of Transportation. So Thanksgiving travel right now is a shit show, right? Airline travel has been horrible ever since the shutdown. The Secretary of Transportation, after my heart and only my heart, because nobody else wants to hear this message, here's what he had to say.
We have to think about how do we do a better job? How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? Maybe we should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I think, again, I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport.
He's right. No pajamas at the airport. He is absolutely right. Now, that said, because people are going to get mad, here's my nuanced take on this, is the airlines have now treated us like shit for 20 years. And by immiserating people, by nickel and diming, by making cattle boarding and treating everybody like shit, and then also by, the beverage costs, creating the smallest seats and all of that ever. Their decline in standards is then reflected in the way people think about travel. So if travel is going to be an immiserating, horrible experience, then yes, nobody is going to dress up to go to the airport. And so my grand bargain is the airlines have to treat us better, and in exchange, we will show up better to the airport. That is my grand bargain.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I mean, I will also say, listen, Thanksgiving travel, you're talking about usually traveling with your kids.
Sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
At some ungodly hour, everyone is miserable. The least you can do is try to be a little bit comfy. So no judgment there. I feel like the only people who really dress up for air travel at this point are gay men and Instagram models.
No, that's absolutely incorrect. That's a direct shot at me. No, I'll tell.
That is not. Do you really dress up for the airport, Saagar?
I mean, I don't wear a full suit. But I'm trying to think. I think I maybe flew in sweats once, and that was India to U.S. In my defense, it was a 16 and a half hour flight, Delhi to Delhi to JFK.
You haven't flown a lot with Priya yet.
No, only once. Yeah, only once.
Yeah, I mean,
will say,
that's
with
a different
children,
deal too.
it would be difficult because, do I really want spit up all over this thing?
Yeah,
not
baby's
really.
puking on you and drooling on you,
Right,
and you're changing diapers and whatever. You're gonna be dressed up for that.
I've changed diapers in a suit, and it's been an unfortunate situation, which I had to explain.
You do what you got to do, but I'm just saying, when you're dealing with a baby or a toddler or a young child, that just totally changes the calculation. Where you're just in survival mode, and if your comfort is going to make things 1% easier, then I say absolutely go for it.
That's true. I defend the rights of new parents to dress.
I'm definitely a comfort and ease airport dresser, right? I'm going to have shoes that are slip-ons So it's easy to get through
That's true.
security
That's
because I
true.
don't have TSA
Security does
pre-check,
complicate
not fancy
this.
like that.
Yeah, security does complicate this.
There are going to be layers involved because the airplane is either going to
cold.
be like 20 degrees or 100 degrees. So you either need to be able to like take off the jacket or put the jacket on or the blanket or whatever you got. So hair's going to be in a ponytail. That's the way it's going to be. So
All right.
yeah.
I mean,
listen, if you're right, if they up the standards,
Yeah.
maybe that would change
We all
the
need
situation.
mutually
but for
better
me personally,
standards.
that's the reality.
My thing is, I remember in Japan, everyone is dressed incredibly. And I was thinking about it, and I go, I really think it's not just that, it's that everything there is nice. When the subway system is nice and it's clean and everything is, is either upgraded or very well kept, then you yourself want to feel well kept when you're taking or using that. There are all these viral videos I encourage people to go watch of people walking around Tokyo with white socks, and then they look at the bottom of their feet, and it's like pristine. They'll walk through the busiest streets of Tokyo wearing clean white socks. There's barely any black on there.
That's
Another
insane.
person, the escalator black thing, like when you're going up the escalator, the handrail. They compare the New York City subway one, which is pitch black by the time they get up to the top, to the Tokyo subway, barely any residue. When things are like that, then you don't feel bad about, dressing nicely. And you don't feel filthy like subway clothes for New York. So anyway, that's my overall take. You could talk about that at Thanksgiving there if you
There you go. Well, Saagar, Emily we've learned
That's right.
during the course of the show, we got some more information about this Baja Blast pie that you're going to be trying. Apparently Taco Bell already discontinued it. I guess it was not much of a hit.
So she handmade it.
She handmade it. She sent us pictures of her boiling the
Yes.
Baja Blast on her
That
stove.
pot will never be the same. It will never be the same, that pot. So
I
yes.
said, what would RFK Jr. say? He's just gonna be shaking his head. I'm a little sad that I won't be there to try it. You'll have to tell me how it is. I am a little bit concerned Emily is trying to take you out and take your slot, but I think you probably
if she wants for the,
have the
she can have it
fortitude
as
to-
long as I get my Baja Blast pie. All right. I'll be honest. I'm not a big pie guy. I hate to say it. I know I'm from Texas. Pecan pie. Everyone's like, oh, pecan pie. Pecan pie, it's too sugary. It's kind of gross. I hate to say
I'm a
it.
fan.
Sorry, Texas.
I am a fan.
I can have a bite.
Do you have
eat
a
whole
favorite?
slice.
Okay, but if you're gonna eat a pie, what's your favorite pie?
Like pumpkin pie, because it's got that
Pumpkin?
cinnamon in it. It's not too sweet,
I'm
Anything
an
that's a
apple
sugar
pie.
bomb, that's
I'm
tough.
an apple pie fan.
Apple pie's
That's
good.
probably my
Yeah.
number one. I mean,
Apple
I
pie's
do enjoy all of. I like a cherry pie. I like a pecan pie. I like a pumpkin pie. I'll take it all. But probably my number one is classic apple pie, a la mode, with some whipped cream as well. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. That sounds good. I wouldn't put the vanilla ice cream though. You got to put the whipped cream. That's in my opinion.
gotta do
I'm not.
both. Why choose?
I'm
doing
I don't
both.
have a big sweet tooth. I'm not a big sweets guy. But we'll see. We'll see. I do like Baja Blast, Diet Baja Blast. It's good. All right, let's get to the AMA live. Producer Mac and I will be eating the Baja Blast pie live
Yep.
on camera. So that's why you should sign up. BreakingPoints.com.
Yep. And happy Thanksgiving
happy
to everyone. And Saagar and I will see you guys next week.
Safe travels, everyone. We'll see you all on Monday. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.